A year ago, young Lin Che was instructed by a peerless expert to destroy his elixir field and rebuild his path of martial arts. During this period, due to a sharp decline in cultivation, he was misunderstood by his family and suffered from the coldness of the world. 1 year later, Lin Che's supreme foundation was built, and the hidden dragon emerged from the abyss. With an invincible posture, it swept through all the geniuses and embarked on a brand new journey. From then on, the vast starry sky, the boundless sea, the 10 hells of all directions, and the heavens of all worlds. All places where living beings dominate have left behind their immortal legends. Chapter 1. The Coolness of the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Coolness of the World. Yangzhou, Kanglin City. The Lin Clan Council Hall. Many respected elders and clan elders in the Lin family gathered here, creating a slightly solemn atmosphere. In the first seat, an old man wearing a black robe was holding a page of paper in his hand, his fingertips turning blue, and his face appeared extremely gloomy. This old man is the head of the Lin family, Lin Xiong. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Xiong finished reading the content and raised the thin paper in his hand. Suddenly, he asked in a cold voice, breaking the silence. Lin Che, do you know what I have in my hand? In an instant, the gaze of all the elders in the hall was directed towards a young man standing below. Upon seeing this, the young man shook his head slightly and said, I don't know, please let the master know. He, you don't know, then I'll tell you, this is a letter of repentance sent by the Murong family. Regret letter. Upon hearing these 3 words, the hall exploded instantly. What? The Murong family is going to ruin their marriage. That's too much. Our Lin family has been standing in Kanglin City for 100 years. Isn't the Murong family openly attacking our Lin family's face by doing this? Some people were filled with indignation. But at this moment, there is also humanity. Excessive. Maybe not. Don't forget, the Murong family is already the largest family in Kanglin City, while our Lin family is just a second-rate force. In the past, the Murong family signed this marriage contract based on Lin Che's talent. However, now Lin Che has become a useless person with broken dantian. Why is it strange for the Murong family to want to regret their marriage? Useless person. Upon hearing these 2 words, the elders of the Lin family present looked at the young man again and shook their heads secretly. Yes, this young man was once hailed as the first genius of Kanglin City, with unparalleled talent. Otherwise, how could the Murong family be interested in him and try to recruit him as a quick son.in.law? But since a year ago, this young man seems to have suffered from a strange illness, with no progress in cultivation but a retreat, and even the most important elixir field for martial artists has shattered. In the end, he went from being a stunning genius to becoming a complete useless person. Nowadays, the Murong family's ruthless destruction of marriage is likely to become the biggest joke in Kanglin City in no time. This shame will also affect the Lin family. With this in mind, Lin Xiong stared fixedly at the young man and said, Lin Che, I really want to know. What are your thoughts now? Upon hearing this, Lin Che's face was like a clear spring, with little fluctuation from beginning to end. He spoke softly, this paper engagement was not what I wanted. Now that the Murong family wants to ruin the marriage, it's quite good. It's pretty good. What attitude? Lin Xiong was furious and said, do you know that as long as you establish a relationship with the Murong family, our Lin family can further advance in Kanglin City. Now, because you are not in good spirits, the Lin family has missed a good opportunity, and you are the culprit of our Lin family. Lin Xiong's words have just fallen through. The elders sitting on the side immediately agreed with a mocking expression on his face, not bad, I have long seen that this son is muddy and cannot support the wall. It's ridiculous that even such a useless person can still hold the position of the young master of the Lin family. Lin Che frowned slightly and said, Elder, if I remember correctly, it was you, the elders of the Lin family, who begged me to fulfill the position of young master of the Lin family back then, right? Please. Upon hearing this word, the elder's expression froze. Although he wanted to refute it, Lin Che was the truth. The competition for mineral resources among the major family forces in Kanglan City is extremely fierce, but the elders of the major families are not willing to take action easily because once they enter, it will evolve into a family war, which will inevitably lead to bloodshed and mutual harm. For mineral veins, each major family has a rule that only the younger members of the clan are dispatched to compete. Under this premise, the better the younger generation in each family, the greater the possibility of fighting outside and obtaining mineral resources. Since Lin Che fought for the Lin family 3 years ago, he has won countless resources and honors for the Lin family. The acquisition of these martial arts resources has gradually enriched the Lin family's power. These contributions, even if the elder no longer admires Lin Che, cannot be openly denied. In the Battle of Yendang Mountain, I fought for the Lin family and suffered 13 serious injuries as a result. In the Battle of Funbua Forest, I fought for the Lin family and was shot in the chest by an enemy arrow, narrowly missing my life. In the past 3 years, I have won the mining rights for more than 10 mineral resources, big and small, for the Lin family. I think you should be very clear about all the efforts I have put in, elder. Just because I can't make any contribution to the Lin family now, you can deny all my previous efforts. Elder, is that what elder means? You. The elder's mouth twitched slightly and he said, "You're reckless. How dare you contradict me at this time? Do you think you're still Lin Che from back then? Don't forget, you're already a wild seed picked up by our Lin family. If it weren't for the Lin family, you might have been buried in the beast's belly." Wild seed. Upon hearing these 2 words, Lin Che's fists suddenly clenched, causing a ripple in his eyes. The elder snorted coldly and arched his hand towards Lin Xianghai, saying, "Master, Lin Che is no longer talented. After being divorced by the Murong clan, our Lin family has become the laughing stock of the entire Kanglan City. Please prioritize the overall situation and dismiss Lin Che as the young master. We must never be women again." Upon hearing this, Lin Xianghai nodded slightly and said, "What the elder said is reasonable." Immediately, he announced in a loud voice, "Lin Che, your lack of ambition has brought shame to the entire Lin family. Now, by the order of the head of the family, I have abolished your position as the young master. From today on, Lin Yu, the son of the elder, will succeed as the young master of the Lin family." Upon hearing this, the elder's face was immediately filled with joy. "Thank you very much for the grace of our master. I will surely urge my son to practice diligently in the future and bring glory to our Lin family." This chapter is not yet complete. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. At this moment, Lin Che's expression slightly darkened. "Master, is this your choice? What do you think?" Lin Xianghai sneered and asked in response. "I understand." Lin Che nodded silently and didn't say anything more. With a flick of his hand, he threw a token symbolizing the identity of the young master over. Immediately, he turned around and left. After Lin Che left, an old member of the Lin family shook his head and said, "Master, after all, Lin Che has made great contributions to our Lin family. Is it inappropriate for him to do so now?" The elder on the side said, "What's wrong? Lin Che used to have outstanding talent, surpassing the younger generation in Kanglan City. But since a year ago, his talent has inexplicably disappeared, and his martial arts realm has been declining instead of advancing. This proves that he is not originally a material for cultivation, and it has gradually revealed his true form. Now that the Murong family has ruined their marriage, what use is this Lin Che for? Let him continue to serve as the young master of the Lin family. Is it not to make other families mock us as having no one in the Lin family?" Lin Xianghai nodded and said, "What elder has said is right. Our Lin family never raises useless people. The head of this family has already made a decision and there is no need to discuss it again. Seeing that the master of the house had made up his mind, except for a few people who expressed regret, he dared not say much. The rest of the people, on the other hand, are praising the wise actions of the family leader. They should not have had a kind heart towards Lin Che now, but rather for the sake of the overall situation. Leaving the conference hall, Lin Che walked among the Lin family. When I was the young master of the Lin family, everyone in the clan showed great respect and flattery towards him. But now he is no longer what he used to be, and those who please him are afraid to avoid him, even looking gloating and pointing behind his back. The world is desolate, with few human relationships. Lin Che deeply felt the feeling of these words. Especially today, does the Lin family really care about losing face in Kanglan City after the Morone clan's divorce? Of course not. The Lin family only cares about the hope of climbing to the top family in Kanglan City after ruining their marriage, which is completely shattered. This also indicates that Lin Che's last trace of value in the Lin family has dissipated. At first, Lin Xianghai, the head of the family, regarded Lin Che as a parent-child, but now he has abandoned her as a humble shoe. This is reality. Lin Che let out a bitter smile, but after the bitter smile, his gaze became more resolute than ever before. Returning to his residence, Lin Che put away all his emotions and after a moment, took out a quaint jade ju from his arms. This ancient jade presents a bright red color, shaped like a bundle of dancing flames, but is covered in cracks, and the word East Emperor is engraved on the front. This ancient jade was left to him by his biological mother, but in Lin Che's heart, he could not outline the appearance and demeanor of this woman in any way. It is said that after his mother rushed Lin Che, who was still in his infancy, to the Lin family, she left without any further news. Later, Lin Che came to understand that this is an ancient jade that has been passed down. The so-called inheritance of ancient jade is only possessed within the extremely powerful supreme family, as a carrier for inheriting bloodlines or divine skills. But this kind of thing cannot be born in this Kanglan city, or even within the entire Yangzhou. That is to say, Lin Che's true background is likely to come from a supreme family. Lin Che also doubted whether the two characters Eastern Emperor depicted on it were his true surname. But if his true family had such powerful energy, how could his parents cruelly abandon him on the border of Kanglan City? Looking at this ancient jade, Lin Che felt extremely puzzled. Of course, the matter of inheriting ancient jade was not told to him by the Lin family. Otherwise, with Lin Xianghai's personality, if he knew the preciousness of this treasure, he would never have kept it until now. Taking back these thoughts, Lin Che sat cross-legged solemnly, holding the inherited ancient jade in his hand, and slowly closed his eyes. Shortly after entering a state of emptiness, a void suddenly unfolded before Lin Che's eyes. At this moment, Lin Che seemed to be in the Milky Way, and in front of him was an immensely vast starry sky, with countless silver hues falling and shining brightly. In the starry sky, a grand hall floats in the air, majestic and magnificent. For this stunning scene, Lin Che was no longer as stunned as when he first came here, and even had a sense of familiarity. Slowly pushing open the door of the main hall, Lin Che stepped into it. "Are you here?" Just then, a pleasant female voice came through. Above the main hall, a stunning woman stood with her hands down, smiling faintly at Lin Che. She is unparalleled in beauty, wearing a light purple long dress, a pair of jade feet standing in the void without shoes or socks, her skin like snow, and her eyes like stars. Even though it wasn't the first time Lin Che had seen this woman, he still felt a slight mental lag. But he quickly settled down and said, "Senior Heavenly Maiden, when can I cultivate into the supreme divine skill you said? It's not that easy." The woman in purple gave a cold smile and said, "Ordinary people have a short-sighted vision. They take the elixir field as the foundation of martial arts, but little do they know that in the later stages of martial arts, the elixir field is the biggest shackle for martial arts practitioners. The method I teach you is to abandon the elixir field, condense the sea of qi, and build a true supreme foundation at the beginning of martial arts." At this point, the woman suddenly changed her tone and said, "Why, do you not believe in the methods of this heavenly woman?" Lin Che quickly shook his head and followed the woman for a year of cultivation. Lin Che was well aware that although the woman had a beautiful appearance, her temper was quite bad. Especially when others question her views on the path of cultivation. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. I understand. The heavenly maiden looked up and down at Lin Che and said, "Although your original talent was as weak as dust in my eyes, it could still be called a genius in this barren little world. A year ago, when you practiced with me, the elixir field shattered and the realm flew back. I'm afraid you have experienced the ups and downs of human relationships in this year. Do you regret it?" Regret. Lin Che chuckled and said, "Falling in one's realm may not necessarily be a bad thing. At least in this year, the younger generation has seen through some people and things, and has also grown a lot. Well, although you're a bit weak now, at least your mood is still pretty good," said the heavenly maiden with a hint of admiration in her eyes. At this moment, the woman in the purple dress gently raised her palm, and a secluded tower flew out, spanning across the hall. Underneath the Yuta, a sword aura storm forms, seemingly capable of easily severing the space. Immediately, the woman in the purple dress pointed her hand and said, "Go in." Lin Che nodded solemnly, took a deep breath, and then walked towards the secluded tower with a firm gaze. Ah! After stepping into that sword energy storm, Lin Che's face instantly turned grim and he let out a painful scream. The woman in the purple dress made it very clear before that her method was to reshape the foundation. To reshape, one must first destroy. At this moment, as Lin Che stepped into the realm of the tower, countless sword energies roared in, and ethereal sword lights passed through Lin Che's dantian. Pain. Every sword pierces into the bone marrow. This is the sword of rules. Each sword not only destroys your elixir field, but also establishes a new order within your body. When the elixir field is completely destroyed, it is the time for a new foundation to emerge. And now is the critical moment, don't give up easily. I understand. Lin Che roared and gritted his teeth, insisting. In fact, there is no need for heavenly maiden's reminder at all. Because of this pain, Lin Che had to endure it almost every day for a year. A year ago, Lin Che's mind opened up the divine jade space for the first time. In the shock of seeing the heavenly maiden for the first time, this mysterious woman told him about these things. At that time, the original words of the heavenly maiden were, "The cultivation method in your world is too backward, and I have a method that can make your future cultivation thousands of miles a day. However, this method requires you to abandon the elixir field and rebuild the foundation. During this period, your cultivation will also plummet. Do you wish?" Upon hearing these words, Lin Che at that time did not hesitate and decisively chose this method. That is to say, a year ago, Lin Che's cultivation had flown back, and even his dantian had shattered, which was not really due to any strange illness, but rather the path he chose himself. In Lin Che's view, a year of hibernation is nothing. When all this is honed, it will be the time when he truly lurks out of the abyss and reveals his sharpness. Chapter 2. The Ultimate Foundation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Ultimate Foundation. 2 hours later. Lin Che's body's dantian shattered and deepened, and the remaining cultivation became even rarer. Lin Che was not discouraged by this, understood the situation, and was one step closer to his goal. However, this method is extremely painful and consumes a lot of mental energy. Too much is not enough. After Lin Che felt that he had reached the limit he could bear, he decisively stopped today's cultivation and withdrew from the divine jade space. G. Shortly thereafter, Lin Che's door was gently pushed open. Immediately after, a young and beautiful girl walked in carrying a food box. "Young master, it's time to eat." Seeing the young girl, Lin Che shook her head and said, "Xiao Yao, I am no longer the young master of the Lin family. You don't need to serve me anymore." Upon hearing this, Xiaoyao shook her head vigorously and placed the food on the table, saying, I have been following the young master since I was young. I remember that during that time, the young master would come back from the outside world with heavy injuries on his body, and every time he came back, it was Xiaoyao who helped him apply medicine. So Xiaoyao knew very well how much the young master had paid for the Lin family. Among the entire Lin family, the young master is the person that Xiaoyao admires the most, so regardless of the young master's current situation, Xiaoyao is willing to always serve him. Seeing the resolute expression of the girl in front of her, Lin Che shook her head helplessly. But in my heart, a warm current surged unconsciously. Since a year ago, Lin Che has only felt the coolness of the world in the entire Lin family, and only this young girl in front of her has made Lin Che feel the only hint of warmth. Placing the dishes on the table, Xiaoyao took out something from the food box and held it in front of Lin Che with both hands. She smiled lightly and said, Young master, here you are. Lin Che looked down and found that it was actually a spiritual fruit. Purple spirit fruit. Seeing this, Lin Che frowned slightly and said, Where did it come from? The value of a purple spirit fruit is 30 gold coins, and this little girl's monthly income is only 10 gold coins. It was bought by Xiaoyao with her savings. Upon hearing this, Lin Che said directly, I'll take it back and return it. Actually, this thing is useless to me. No, I heard from the family physician that the purple spirit fruit has a nourishing effect on the dantian. The young master's dantian is damaged, and this thing may be helpful. Looking at the serious expression on the girl's face, Lin Che smiled and shook her head, but couldn't bear to disappoint her. Okay, I'll accept it then, but don't buy it again in the future. Oh, Xiaoyao nodded, with a hint of cunning in her eyes, but she didn't know what she was thinking. After spending lunch with Lin Che, Xiaoyao left Lin Che's residence. Not long after, her figure arrived at a place. Cloud Embroidery Workshop. This is a place for tailoring clothes, serving the wealthy and noble families in Kanglan City. Only those with excellent craftsmanship are qualified to become embroiderers here. And Xiaoyao had already passed the assessment a month ago. She came here and started working with ease. Not long after, a middle-aged woman walked in. The order from the Lord's mansion needs to be rushed to produce 10 sets of ready-to-wear clothes within a month, with a reward of 10 gold coins. Has anyone taken it? City Lord's mansion. Upon hearing these 3 words, there was a moment of silence on the scene. The Lord of the city had immense power in Kanglan City, and although he offered generous rewards, his vision was also extremely high. If there were any flaws in the tailoring of clothes, they would be returned. So, everyone present was slightly hesitant. However, at this moment, a girl's voice remained firm and said, I'll take it. Upon hearing this, the middle-aged woman looked at the girl named Xiaoyao and nodded slightly. Although you have just arrived at the Cloud Embroidery Workshop for a month, your embroidery skills are excellent and there have been no mistakes. I can trust you with this order. Later, she looked at the others and said, Is there anyone else who wants to take it? However, at this moment, Xiaoyao stood up and said, So. Can you give me all this order? The middle-aged woman gave Xiaoyao a deep glance and said, Are you sure? If we can't produce 10 sets of ready-to-wear clothes within a month, over at the Lord's mansion. Don't worry, even if I don't eat or sleep, I will definitely complete this order as scheduled. Xiaoyao assured with a firm expression. Upon hearing this, the middle-aged woman hesitated slightly before nodding and saying, Okay, that's all up to you. At this moment, the ladies and aunts around were discussing the little girl. This little girl is crazy. She can make 10 sets of ready-to-wear clothes in a month, isn't she afraid of blinding her eyes? Hey, I heard that this little girl used to be the close mate of the young master of the Lin family. In the Lin family, she lived a more comfortable life than some ordinary ladies. But now, I've heard that the young master of the Lin family has been deposed from his position, and this girl has also fallen to this point. It's quite pitiful to say. Ah, a phoenix with fallen feathers is not as good as a chicken. At this moment, Xiaoyao seemed to have not heard these discussions. To complete this order, there will be a reward of 10 gold coins, and my monthly salary at the Lin family is also 10 gold coins. In addition, I will go to the drunken immortal tower to help for 2 hours every day. In this way, the young master can have a purple spirit fruit every month. In the corner, Xiaoyao counted these things with her fingers, and a hopeful smile appeared on her face. For the next month, Xiaoyao's petite figure was caught up in busyness. Even so, every day when it comes to meals, they still bring food to Lin Che. During this period, Lin Che also noticed that every time she saw Xiaoyao, the little girl's face appeared particularly haggard. But every time Lin Che asked her, she would smile and shake her head. Lin Che didn't pay too much attention to this, because during these days, he felt that his cultivation seemed to have reached a critical moment. This day, Lin Che stepped into the secluded tower, and at this moment, 1,000 sword energies suddenly became violent. Shoo, shoo. Under the yuta, the raging sword energy penetrated through the body. Lin Che's eyes were wide open, and the intense pain twisted his face and made his body twitch. But he understood that he must persevere at this critical moment, otherwise all the efforts of this year will be in vain. Boom boom. Finally, 2 hours later, a roar came from within Lin Che's body. Lin Che's dantian was completely destroyed, and after its destruction, it ushered in a new life. I succeeded. Is this the Sea of Qi? Under Lin Che's inner gaze, he saw that the dantian had disappeared from his lower abdomen, replaced by a sea of qi. Under the sea freight, a continuous stream of spiritual energy from heaven and earth surged towards him. If the spiritual energy conveyed by dantian was like a small stream before, then now it is a surging river, which cannot be compared. Feeling all of this, Lin Che's face immediately became ecstatic. After more than a year of hard work, he has finally completed nirvana and successfully taken this step. Later, he sat cross-legged and began to crazily absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. After a whole night, Lin Che finally absorbed all the spiritual energy, and his body suddenly experienced a dramatic change. Gathering qi in the 5 realms. Lin Che suddenly opened his eyes and felt his own realm, feeling a surge of excitement in his heart. The realm of martial arts is divided into Qi-gathering realm, Lingwu realm, Xuanwu realm, Dewu realm, Tianwu realm. A year ago, at the peak of Lin Che's life, he was in the 8 realms of gathering Qi. However, this year his dantian was shattered and he had already fallen to the 1 realm of gathering Qi. But now, just as the Sea of Qi was born in his body, his realm had unexpectedly returned to the 5th level of gathering Qi. How could he not be excited? I'm really not promising. The woman in the purple dress gave him a fair glance and said, it's just the beginning. Although your realm has flown back in this year, it was because the elixir field was shattered and now the foundation has been rebuilt. Of course, your realm will return some. But if you want to make progress in the future, you need to rely on the Sea of Qi born within your body. Qi Hai. Lin Che's face showed confusion. Swallow, search for all the spiritual things that can be devoured, including elixirs, spiritual veins, and various heavenly and earthly treasures. In short, you will learn about the power of the Qi Sea in the future. Alright, I'm tired today, let's stop here. The woman in the purple dress showed a hint of fatigue and shook her head slightly at this moment, saying, Okay. Although Lin Che still had countless doubts in his heart, seeing that the woman didn't want to say anything more, he could only withdraw from the divine jade space with his mind. At the same time, it is a place for exchanging spiritual items of the Lin ethnic group. Xiaoyao arrived here and bowed respectfully to the old man behind the counter, saying, Hello, Grandpa. The old man behind the counter glanced at her and said, Little girl, are you coming to exchange purple spirit fruit again? Yes, Xiaoyao smiled and placed 30 gold coins on the counter. Alas, Lin Che's dantian is shattered, and all the doctors in the city have asserted that he has no chance of stepping into the martial arts world again in this life. Why bother you, little girl? No, I believe the young master's talent will definitely come back. Xiao Yao firmly refuted this. He, okay. The old man shook his head helplessly, knowing that the little girl had a stubborn temper, so he didn't say much and took out a purple spirit fruit and handed it over. Thank you very much, Grandpa. After successfully obtaining this item, Xiao Yao carefully held it with both hands before taking steps to leave. After leaving the exchange hall, she happily headed towards Lin Che's residence. However, just halfway through, several figures appeared in front of her. Zhao. Director Zhao. Xiao Yao saw the middle-aged man leading her and a hint of awe appeared in her eyes. This person is Zhao Hu, a general manager of the Lin family. Zhao Hu glanced sideways at the purple spirit fruit in Xiao Yao's hand and said, "Whose is it?" "It's for the young master." Xiao Yao whispered back. "Lin Che." Xiao Yao didn't dare to hide and nodded. Pop. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhao Hu slapped the purple spirit fruit hard on the ground, then lifted one foot and stepped on it. Juice splatters everywhere. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yao trembled all over. This purple spirit fruit was hard-earned by her for a month of neglecting sleep and food. Now, it is trampled on in the dust and mud. Despite this, Xiao Yao did not go into hysteria. She just stood by and watched the scene, her mouth flattened and she wanted to cry, but she held back her tears. Because she understood that the other party's identity held high authority in the Lin family and was not something that she, as a small maid, could provoke. Lin Che, he has become a useless person and still wants to waste the resources of my Lin family. Even if these things are fed to dogs, it's better than giving them to him. Upon hearing these words, Xiao Yao, who had just stepped on the purple spirit fruit without daring to complain, seemed to have been stepped on at the tail. Young master is not a useless person, she suddenly spoke. Upon hearing this, Zhao Hu suddenly gave a fierce smile and said, "What? Say it again." Xiao Yao raised her head and looked straight at him. "Young master, isn't it?" Pop. This time, Zhao Hu didn't wait for her to finish speaking and slapped her heavily in the face. 5 bright red fingerprints instantly appeared on Xiao Yao's originally fair face. Dantian is shattered and has been deposed from the position of young master. This kind of waste left in the Lin family is simply a waste of Lin's food. Coincidentally, my manager is going to find him today. As he spoke, he said to his attendant behind him, "Take her with you. Today, I'll let this stinky girl see how useless that useless person is." Immediately, General Manager Zhao led the crowd with great momentum towards Lin Che's residence. Chapter 3. Taking the Sky as a Mirror. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Taking the Sky as a Mirror. Peng. After arriving at Lin Che's room, Zhao Hu kicked open the door. At this moment, Lin Che is consolidating her realm. The sudden sound made him open his eyes and look over. After seeing Lin Che, Zhao Hu looked sarcastic. "Yo, young Master Lin, the sun is shining on your buttocks and you're still sleeping in your room. Do you really think you're still the young master of the Lin family and can you take care of yourself?" Lin Che frowned slightly and said, "Zhao Hu, what do you mean by bringing someone into my room?" Zhao Hu grinned and sneered, "In your room. From now on, this is no longer your room. According to the order of young Master Lin Yu, from today on, you Lin Che will move out of the Lin tribe and send to Xingshan." Lin Yu. The name came to mind, and Lin Che's eyes narrowed slightly. Lin Yu is the son of the elder of the Lin family, second only to Lin Che in talent among the Lin family, but his popularity has always been steadily suppressed by Lin Che back then. When Lin Che was still the young master, this person showed great respect to Lin Che, and could even be said to be obedient. Unexpectedly, he had just taken office and was so targeted at him. Indeed, he is despicable and ruthless. Once he gained power, his true form was revealed. As for Xingshan in Zhao Huke's mouth, it is an extremely barren wilderness with extremely difficult living conditions. It can even be said that he eats bran and swallows vegetables, and stays outdoors. Only those who commit serious crimes in their families will be sent there to transport stones and giant trees, suffering and suffering. Lin Che's heart was icy cold. He once fought for the Lin family, but now, the Lin family is sending him to Xingshan. Lin Che was about to speak about this, but at that moment, he noticed the soft and weak figure escorted behind Zhao Hu. Seeing the 5 bright red fingerprints on Xiaoyao's face, Lin Che's eyes suddenly turned cold. He looked at Zhao Hu and said, "Did you fight?" "Yes, just like." Hua. Before Zhao Hu could finish speaking, Lin Che, who was originally sitting cross-legged, suddenly stood up. The next moment, his figure swept towards Zhao Hu. "Move like a fierce tiger." Upon seeing this scene, Zhao Hu's heart trembled with fear, but soon he realized that the other party was just a useless person with a broken dantian. Dailang fist. Zhao Hu let out a loud shout and punched out, as if there were many raging waves and full of strength. Seeing this, Lin Che's figure did not dodge or avoid. The next moment, as he twisted his body, he also punched out. Bang! There was a dull sound in the air, which surprised everyone. After this fierce collision, Zhao Hu let out a mournful scream, and all 5 fingers were broken. Ah! You're not. Director Zhao's mind was in a frenzy, and he retreated with a frightened expression on his face. Lin Che's cultivation has been abolished, hasn't it? Xiaoyao is my person, you dare to touch her even if you dare. After saying these words, Lin Che took a step and lifted his foot to kick Zhao Hu fiercely between his legs. Ow! Zhao Hu's eyes protruded, his entire body bent into a shrimp-like shape, flying several meters away and hitting the ground heavily. Fierce. When Lin Che represented the Lin family in the battle against major mineral veins, he made many young people in Kanglan City tremble at the news because he had always been ruthless and decisive in his actions. So upon seeing this scene, all the attendants who followed General Zhao remained silent, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. At this moment, Lin Che's gaze swept over, as if disdainful of taking action against these servants, and he said in a deep voice, "Go back and tell Lin Yu that he was so overwhelmed by me back then that he couldn't lift his head. Now, he can only beg for mercy in front of me. If you want to turn over, let's go back to the next life. Get out of here." Yes. Upon seeing this, these servants were immediately granted amnesty, supporting General Zhao, who was like a dead dog, and exiting Lin Che's room in fear. "Young master, your cultivation has been restored." Xiaoyao stood in place, witnessing what had just happened. At this moment, her small mouth was wide open, and her eyes were full of brilliance. Lin Che nodded and said, "I have recovered some." "Really, this is really great." Upon hearing this, Xiaoyao immediately cheered and jumped up, indicating that Lin Che's cultivation could be restored. This little girl felt happy from the bottom of her heart. However, soon after, Xiaoyao realized something and worried, "Young master, but now that Lin Yu has become the young master of the Lin family, General Manager Zhao just came under his command. If you beat General Manager Zhao into that appearance, he will definitely not give up easily." "Lin Yu." Lin Che smiled and casually said, "When have I ever been afraid of him?" Xiaoyao was taken aback for a moment, then nodded heavily. Yes, the young master was once the first genius in Kanglan City. Now that his talent has returned, he can definitely return to the position of young master of the Lin family. No young generation in the Lin family can threaten the young master. For Lin Che, this little girl seems to have almost blind admiration and confidence. Returning to the position of young master. Lin Che shook his head and said, "Over the past year, I have already seen everything about the Lin family. Is there anything else worth cherishing in this family now?" After finishing speaking, he asked solemnly, Xiaoyao, are you willing to leave the Lin family with me? Leave the Lin family. Upon hearing these 4 words, Xiaoyao didn't hesitate. Wherever the young master goes, Xiaoyao is willing to follow him. Okay. Seeing Xiaoyao's agreement, Lin Che went straight to the desk and sat down. After taking out his pen and ink, he waved his pen and wrote a few lines of handwriting. After finishing all of this, he suddenly looked at Xiaoyao and said, since you're leaving, can you leave some words too? Oh, Xiaoyao nodded obediently, took the brush, hesitated for a moment, and began to write. This chapter is not yet complete, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Lin Che's violent attack on director Zhao Hu is definitely explosive news for the current Lin family. Half an hour later, this news spread rapidly. Home Master's mansion. Upon hearing the explanation from the guard in front of him, the expression of the head of the family, Lin Xianghai, became unprecedentedly solemn. What you said is true. My subordinate's words are true. General Zhao Hu went to Lin Che's residence to provoke him, but was hit by Lin Che's punch and his right palm was severed, his vital organ was destroyed, and he had no resistance throughout the process. There is no resistance at all. Lin Xianghai pondered for a moment before asking again, what is the reason? According to legend, it seems that it was young Master Lin Yu who ordered Lin Che to send to Xingshan immediately, which caused the conflict, the guard replied. How audacious! Upon hearing these words, Lin Xianghai's expression suddenly sank. However, no one could hear whether his reprimand was directed at Lin Yu or Lin Che. After a moment of silence, Lin Xianghai seemed to have made a decision and said directly to the guard, go let Lin Che come and see me. After saying this, he suddenly added, remember, be polite. Yes, the guard respectfully accepted the order and then stepped down. Afterwards, Lin Xianghai stood up and paced slowly in the room. Can it be said that Lin Che's talent has never disappeared? Throughout this year, he has been deliberately hiding himself. Impossible. When Lin Che's cultivation declined, he personally investigated and confirmed that Lin Che was due to the broken dantian, and there was no possibility of repair in this lifetime. How could he still easily crush Zhao Hu now? Many ideas flashed through Lin Xianghai's mind one by one. Finally, Lin Xianghai made a decision that Lin Che's cultivation must have been restored, but the specific extent to which it has been restored is still unclear. That's why he summoned Lin Che to come and explore the reality. After a moment, the guard returned again, and Lin Xianghai frowned deeply when he saw that he was the only one. Where are people? Homecoming Master, young Master Lin Che is not in the mansion, and his subordinates are only in his room. They found this letter. What? Lin Xianghai took the letter and opened it to take a look. He saw ink marks still on it, only a few short lines of text. Starting today, I, Lin Che, officially withdraw from the Lin family and have no further connection with them. This oath is based on the heavens and the thick soil. Lin Che keeps a pen. In addition, there is actually a beautiful line of small characters below this letter. Master, the young master has paid so much for the family, but you are so cruel to the young master. Since Xiaoyao is leaving the family with the young master, there is nothing to bless you before leaving, so I wish you a long sleep. Bang! After reading the contents of the letter, Lin Xianghai's anger surged and he slapped the table in front of him into powder. Chapter 4. Dominant Cultivation Methods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Hegemonic Cultivation Methods, bold. It's so bold. At this moment, Lin Xianghai clenched his palms and his face showed veins. He never expected that Lin Che would dare to openly betray the family. If your talent really recovers, I originally wanted to give you another chance, but now you are so disrespectful, then don't blame me for ignoring my past feelings. Master Uncle. Just then, a sound suddenly came from outside the door. Come in, Lin Xianghai quickly put away his gloomy expression and said. Immediately, a dignified young man walked in, who was none other than Lin Yu. Ha ha ha, it turns out Yuer is here. Lin Xianghai showed a kind smile. Master uncle, I seem to have made some mistakes. I asked brother Lin Che to go to Xingshan to supervise him, but I didn't expect that Zhao Hu would misunderstand my intentions and anger brother Lin Che. I have punished Zhao Hu severely, and I have come to explain the reason for this matter to Master Uncle. I also request that Master Uncle reduce the punishment. Lin Yu's face showed a hint of guilt. Lin Xianghai glanced at him and then smiled, he he he. You are now the young master of the Lin family. This is just a small order of no importance. Do you still need to explain it to me? Oh. Lin Yu's eyes rolled and he probed again. I heard that Lin Che's cultivation seems to have recovered, but I don't know if it's true or not. Ha ha ha, if it's true, then it's really a blessing from heaven for our Lin family. Although Lin Yu said this on his lips, he felt extremely depressed in his heart. Because if Lin Che's cultivation truly recovers, with his prestige in the Lin family, he is afraid that his buttocks in this young master's position may not be heated up yet, and he will have to give in again. And with Lin Che's personality, this time he exposed his fangs and threw stones into the well. How could the other party easily let him go? So Lin Yu rushed over in a hurry, wanting to understand Lin Xianghai's attitude as soon as possible. Lin Che's cultivation has indeed recovered some, but his personality is rebellious and unruly. I am completely disappointed with him and have expelled him from the family. From then on, he has no connection with our Lin family. What? This. Lin Yu felt ecstatic upon hearing this, but on the surface, he showed a surprised expression of error. Lin Xianghai was cunning and couldn't help but know the purpose of Lin Yu's visit. He patted Lin Yu on the shoulder and said meaningfully, no matter what flows inside Lin Che's body is not the bloodline of our Lin family, but you are the legitimate lineage of our Lin family. The Lin family has been passed down for hundreds of years, how could an outsider really inherit the position of family head? From beginning to end, that Lin Che was just a chess piece of my Lin family. You are my own Lin family, and I have always had full expectations of you. 1 month later, it will be the sect selection battle. At that time, the first force in Yangzhou, Dao Cungyuan, will also come to Kanglan City to select disciples. If you can join Dao Cungyuan, it will bring infinite glory to the Lin family and take them to an unprecedented height. Therefore, at this time, all the hopes of the Lin family are pinned on you. I will also order that during this period, the Lin family's resource arsenal and battle skills pavilion will be fully open to you. You must work hard and bring glory to our Lin family. Really? Really? Thank you very much, uncle. Yuer will definitely not disappoint you or the Lin family. Upon hearing Lin Xianghai's promise, Lin Yu was immediately thrilled in his heart. Alright, if there's nothing else, you can go down and practice. Yes, the child is leaving. Watching Lin Yu leave, Lin Xianghai once again took out the letter left by Lin Che, shook it into powder with a movement of his hand, and after a long silence, a cold feeling in his eyes flashed away. Shenfeng Mountain Range. Located hundreds of miles away from Kanglan City, this place boasts towering mountains and towering ancient trees, presenting a primitive scene. It can be said that this mountain range is a paradise for monsters, and similarly, it is also a place of adventure for many explorers, filled with various opportunities. At this moment, the figure of a young man carrying a long sword appeared here. This person is exactly Lin Che. A few days ago, Lin Che left the Lin family and arranged for Xiao Yao to be in a nearby small town, while his figure came here alone. The mysterious woman in the ancient jade space once said that after Lin Che's foundation was rebuilt, she would search for heavenly and earthly treasures to devour, so Lin Che thought of this at the first time. This is the third-grade spiritual medicine. Tianlongguo. After delving dozens of miles into the Shinfeng Mountains, Lin Che had a surprising discovery. In front of me, on a branch like a dragon, there is a crystal-clear blue light, bearing a fruit the size of a dragon's eye. This fruit is snow-white all over, and even if it is far apart, one can feel the rich spiritual energy contained within it. My luck is too good, isn't it? I just entered the Shinfeng Mountains and had this kind of harvest. This Tianlong fruit seems to have just matured. A strong smile appeared at the corner of Lin Che's mouth as he walked towards the direction of Longhua that day. But at this moment, Lin Che suddenly felt a dangerous aura that directly locked him in. Lin Che looked ahead cautiously, only to see a pair of blood-red animal pupils in the nearby jungle, emitting a bloodthirsty light, staring closely at himself. Red Moon Demon Wolf. Lin Che frowned and said to himself, I almost forgot that in this wild land, most natural resources and treasures have the presence of guardian monsters. The adult Red Moon Demon Wolf is capable of growing into a 5th-level demon beast, comparable to the cultivation level of a human warrior in the Gathering Chi realm. Even due to the naturally strong physique of demon beasts, they are generally more powerful than human warriors of the same level. At this moment, the Red Moon Demon Wolf in front of Lin Che was about 10 feet tall, with sharp fangs and smooth muscle lines that seemed to be filled with explosive power, clearly entering adulthood. Roar! The Red Moon Demon Wolf and Lin Che were in a standoff, and for an unknown amount of time, the Red Moon Demon Wolf finally lost patience. After a roar, it suddenly launched an attack on Lin Che. Its massive body suddenly turned into a stream of light, and a fierce claw slapped Lin Che's head fiercely. But upon seeing this scene, Lin Che's expression appeared unusually calm. In those years, Lin Che fought for mineral veins for the Lin family. It can be said that after countless life and death struggles, his realm could fall, but this fighting instinct and experience will not disappear. Shwa! A sword roar resembling the sound of a dragon. As the attack of the Red Moon Demon Wolf approached Lin Che drew his sword and struck with one slash. The long sword in his hand drew a strange arc in the air, while at the same time, Lin Che's sea of chi suddenly boiled inside, and his true chi condensed on the tip of the sword. This sword runs like thunder and is as fast as a gust of wind. Kang! Pushi! The attack of the Red Moon Demon Wolf is fast enough, but obviously Lin Che's sword is faster. Before the Red Moon Demon Wolf could fall, its sword tip had already cut through its throat. A burst of blood shot out. With a loud roar, the massive body of the Red Moon Demon Wolf hit the ground heavily, causing the ground to tremble. Slash with one sword, without any dragging or dragging. And for this result, Lin Che also appears quite satisfied. I didn't expect to make much of a move in a year, but I'm still so brave, Lin Che muttered to himself, also feeling nostalgic for the pleasure of this battle. My face is thicker than the city walls, I'm not shy. As Lin Che's words fell, a mysterious woman's contemptuous voice suddenly rang out in her heart. Lin Che's mouth twitched slightly, but over the past year, he had become accustomed to the woman's ability to communicate with him. Picking the heavenly dragon fruit in his hand, Lin Che said, Senior Heavenly Maiden, you said to let me search for natural resources and treasures, and then what? Swallow it, the mysterious woman said succinctly. Upon hearing this, Lin Che's mind was startled. Tianling fruit is a kind of miraculous medicine of high quality. This kind of natural material and land treasure has been growing for hundreds of years, absorbing the essence of the sun and the moon, and its energy is extremely violent. If swallowed directly, for the vulnerable dantian of the warrior, there is only one result, which is to explode and die. So for this martial arts resource, there are generally only two ways. One is to invite a respected alchemist to refine it into a pill that can be absorbed. The second is to spend a lot of time, years and months, refining little by little. Senior Tiannu, if I swallow it directly, I'm afraid my dantian can't bear it, Lin Che said anxiously. Do you have a dantian? The mysterious woman asked back. Lin Che was taken aback. Yes, his dantian is completely shattered and has now been replaced by the Sea of Qi. The Heavenly Maiden has long said that dantian is a shackle for warriors. Only in this lower world can one use this barbaric and primitive method of cultivation. Believe me, it's sweet to swallow it directly. The mysterious woman's voice was enchanting, like a bad sister who deceived a little boy. Okay. Okay. Lin Che gritted his teeth, but hesitated for a moment before swallowing the heavenly spirit fruit in one bite. Boom. After the spiritual fruit entered Lin Che's abdomen, a frenzied energy burst out in his body. At this moment, the sea of qi inside him suddenly boiled up, like a long drought soil receiving a shower of rain, devouring this energy completely in an instant. At the same time, Lin Che's aura, from the initial stage of gathering qi in the 5 realms, reached its peak directly, seemingly only one step away from crossing to the 6 realms of gathering qi. At this moment, Lin Che was foolish. He could never imagine that there was such a domineering cultivation method in this world. At this moment, Lin Che finally understood that the strength of a warrior's aura is greater than that of a dantian, and that is time. Practice time. Other warriors may take several months to refine the heavenly spirit fruit, which only requires an instant. And even the supreme alchemist can only retain part of the essence when refining the elixir into pills. Just now, Lin Che could feel that the absorption of this spiritual medicine by Qi Hai was 10%, without any waste. If this matter spreads, it will definitely shock the world. If what others have is a small pond, then now in front of me is a vast ocean with endless possibilities. Lin Che murmured absent-mindedly. Yes, your future is limitless, said the mysterious woman. But let's set a small goal first, for example, to step out of this world first. Ah. The words of the mysterious woman brought Lin Che back to reality. Yeah, he's just a young man who hasn't even left Kanglan City. Even if he has such an incredible cultivation method, he's just starting out. The future road is destined to have many difficulties and obstacles waiting for him. Let's continue. After calming down his emotions, Lin Che decided to continue deep into the Shinfeng Mountains. However, compared to before, he is now full of confidence. With such a domineering cultivation method, it seems that it is not so difficult to restore one's previous cultivation within a month. Chapter 5. Black Dragon Village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Black Dragon Village in the hinterland of the Shinfeng Mountains, in an unnamed Grand Canyon. At this moment, there was a wave in space, and a beam of light flashed across the sky. Subsequently, this light and shadow fell on a blue stone at the top of the mountain, revealing the figure of a person. Walk in the air. If anyone sees this scene, their heart must be inexplicably shaken. Because it is only possible for a warrior to reach the Xuanwu realm without relying on external forces to control the sky. And the Xuanwu realm, a single thought is enough to plunge the border areas such as Kanglan City into an irreparable disaster. Even in the bustling Yangzhou, a stomp of one's foot can make the terrifying presence of earthquakes. This is a woman with eyebrows trimmed and nose pointed, bright eyes and white teeth. Wearing a black outfit, she outlined a beautiful figure, which further accentuated her snowy skin and unparalleled beauty. The beautiful woman in black had just arrived here not long ago, and then several piercing sounds came from the air. 3 people wearing silver cloaks and silver masks rushed over and bowed respectfully to the woman. Lord Temple Master. The woman in black glanced at them and lifted her thin lips lightly, saying, "Did you find them? Report to Lord Luo of the Hall, I am powerless." After the 9 dragon Taoist fled to this place, it seemed like he had evaporated out of thin air and it was difficult to find any trace. Upon hearing this, the woman in black nodded and said calmly, "It's okay, this mountain range has been sealed off, we can always find it, it's just a matter of time. Keep looking." The woman fell silent for a moment and said, "Yes, the Temple Master. Upon hearing the woman's command, the 3 strong men in silver robes immediately took orders and dispersed. At this moment, the woman in black was also preparing to leave. However, as soon as she took a step, she seemed to notice something again and suddenly stopped. She turned to look into the void inside the canyon, and a sneer appeared at the corner of her mouth as she said, "The most dangerous place is the safest place. Jiulong Taoist, you are very smart. You have been hiding here all along, almost hiding from my eyes. However, hiding under my nose must be very worrying, right? Since it's so agonizing, why don't you show up?" Buzz. At this moment, the void she was gazing at finally wavered after a moment of silence. Subsequently, an old man wearing a golden Taoist robe appeared out of thin air. The old man's eyes seemed to be filled with unwillingness, and he said coldly, "I, the 9 Dragons Taoist, am best at the art of hiding in the void. I didn't expect that I would still be chased along the way without any escape. Lord Luo's insight is indeed extraordinary." The woman in black shook her head and smiled. "Jiulong Taoist, you were supposed to be called Duan Wukong, also known as the Void Ghost Thief. 10 years ago, you changed your appearance and infiltrated our Dao Cangyuan. Finally, you stole the Jialan martial scripture from the Sutra Pavilion. Am I wrong? Not bad. But I can't figure it out. 10 years ago, during the turmoil in the Daocang Academy, the Lord of the Luo Palace suffered such unfair treatment. Isn't he already disheartened and choosing to retire from worldly affairs? Why are you still working so hard for the Daocang Academy today?" Upon hearing this, the woman in black said, "I really won't bother with the power struggle anymore. But since I was young, I grew up in the Daocang Academy and was taught by my ancestors. I will never forget this kindness. The Jialan martial scripture is one of the 3 supreme heart scriptures of the Daocang Academy. For a martial arts academy, it can be considered a forbidden domain. Stealing this mind technique is like shaking the foundation of the Daocang Academy. You say, if I don't retrieve this scripture, how can I justify the cultivation of my ancestors? It's just that." The Jiulong Taoist shook his head helplessly and said, "Since that's the case, I'll admit defeat. Lord Luo, I'll hand over the Jialan martial scripture. Can you spare me a way to survive?" The woman in black pondered for a moment and said, "Hand over the martial arts scripture and cut off one arm. I can spare you from dying, otherwise there will be no place to bury you." "Okay." The Jiulong Taoist hesitated for a long time, as if making a decision. With a big wave of his hand, an ancient book flew out of his sleeve and robe. The woman in black raised her jade hand, took it down, and looked down. It is indeed true that the Jialan martial arts classic is true. But before the smile on her lips could spread, she suddenly felt a hint of danger approaching. I saw Jiulong Taoist suddenly take a step in the air and quickly approach. "Ha ha ha, Luo Ro. Back then, you and Feng Feiyang were known as the unparalleled double princes of the Daocang Academy. However, I have also been around for decades. Today, I will see how you, the younger generation, can kill me." Boom. Before the words could be spoken, the 9-Dragon Taoist had already punched out, carrying the momentum of shifting mountains and seas, as if completely blocking the position of the woman in black. Originally, the 9 Dragons Taoist pretended to return the martial arts scriptures, just to let the woman named Luo Ro relax her guard and then strike with lightning. Stubborn. Upon seeing this scene, the woman in black named Luo Ro frowned slightly, but there was no sign of panic on her face. Wow! At the next moment, she raised her jade hand and a vast palm power swept forward like a sea of stars. Boom! Under the frightened gaze of the 9-Dragon Taoist, this palm power instantly enveloped him. This. Impossible! Jiulong Taoist let out an unwilling roar. After the black-clad woman made a move, only the 9 Dragons Taoist understood the gap between the two, which was as difficult as crossing a chasm. He doesn't even have the chance to take a single move in the hands of this woman. In the next moment, the body of the Jiulong Taoist, along with the surrounding space, shattered and disappeared without a trace. The black-clad woman's palm turned the bodies of the 9 dragon Taoist into dust that was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye, so it appeared that there was no trace left. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. If there is resistance, there will be no place to bury oneself. It must be said that this woman said so and indeed did so. After killing the 9 dragon Taoist, the woman in black did not leave. Instead, she sent a message and quietly waited for the scattered silver shadow guards to return. Meanwhile, not far from this Grand Canyon, after killing a python monster, Lin Che once again received a 3rd-grade spiritual medicine. And this is already the 10th monster killed by Lin Che after entering the Shinfeng mountain range, and the 15th elixir harvested. Without any hesitation, Lin Che picked the elixir and swallowed it in one gulp. Boom! Pure energy exploded within him, and Lin Che's breath also surged. Just a moment later, the raging spiritual energy inside this elixir had been fully refined by Lin Che. Gathering chi 7 times. Feeling the current state, Lin Che's eyes were filled with joy. He only entered the Shinfeng mountain range for 10 days, and in 10 days, he moved from the 5th level of chi gathering to the 7th level of chi gathering. If this news were to spread, I don't know how many people would be shocked. At this speed, I have the ability to step out of Kanglan City, so I shouldn't be far away. Even a year ago, Lin Che was known as the first genius of the younger generation in Kanglan City, but he never had such confidence. At this moment, the heavenly maiden shook her head helplessly and said, "Your pursuit is only to step out of Kanglan City. Can't you set a broader goal?" Upon hearing this, Lin Che thought for a moment and said, "Then leave Yangzhou. A little further away." "Well. Then I will become famous in the Tsangfeng kingdom in the future, Yes, I must become the strongest in the Tsangfeng kingdom." Lin Che clenched his fist and said firmly. The heavenly maiden felt defeated, and then she became angry and said, with the guidance of the heavenly maiden herself, "You only want to become the strongest in a small country. If you want to anger the heavenly maiden to death. Boasting is not for money, you are blowing big for me." Inspired by this, Lin Che suddenly felt a surge of emotion in his heart. Then he gritted his teeth fiercely and said, "I, Lin Che, swear that in the future, I will definitely become the master of the universe, stepping on the 8 wilderness and 6 harmonies, wielding swords in the heavens and all realms. Demons, gods, Buddhas, and immortals, kneel before me. Those who praise my true name by the world will have eternal life." In Lin Che's passionate oath, this time, the heavenly maiden fell silent. Lin Che frowned and asked, "Senior heavenly maiden, isn't the goal this time not grand enough?" "Enough, enough. To be honest, I also quite want your goal. Don't be so ambitious in the future." The heavenly maiden murmured softly. "Lin Che. .. After a moment, Lin Che couldn't help but ask, "Senior heavenly maiden, in fact, during the year I have been in contact with you, I have noticed that you always like to mock me. Do we have any grudges?" "I don't have any grudges against you, but perhaps I have some grudges against your parents." Lin Che was taken aback. "Why?" "The heavenly maiden is suppressed in this space, accompanying you to grow up." "Do you think anyone else besides your parents would do this?" said the heavenly maiden with a hint of resentment, biting her teeth lightly. How could it be that this mysterious woman was suppressed by her own parents in this inherited divine jade? Although Lin Che did not know the specific realm of this mysterious woman, he knew that she was so strong that she did not belong to this realm. Can his biological parents suppress him here to such an extent? Has Senior Tiannu seen the younger generation's biological parents? Can you tell me where they are now and why they abandoned me in Kanglan City? Lin Che asked again. I'm not sure. The memory of this heavenly maiden should have been forcibly erased by someone. When she woke up, she was already in this ancient jade. The heavenly maiden snorted coldly, making Lin Che feel a little uneasy. Since the other party is likely to have a grudge against his parents, isn't he seeking death by practicing with this woman now? Don't worry, this heavenly maiden won't harm you. Your current life is connected to the internal space of this inherited ancient jade. If you die, I will no longer exist. And I want to go out. Only you can lift the ban in this ancient jade. It seemed to see Lin Che's concern, and the mysterious woman explained. Can I let Senior Qiannu out? You're not good at it now, getting stronger. Only when you become stronger can you. So it's like this. Lin Che finally understood why this mysterious woman was teaching him to practice, and at the same time, he felt a lot of peace of mind. At least, before the heavenly maiden leaves the divine jade space, the other party should not be unfavorable to him. Step by step, just as Lin Che was thinking about this, a violent shock suddenly came from his area. Lin Che looked ahead in confusion and saw a group of big men riding wild beasts galloping by not far away. Black Dragon Village. Seeing the clothes on these people's bodies, Lin Che recognized their origins. This Black Dragon Fortress is a bandit organization that frequents the vicinity of Kanglan City year-round. It is rumored that these bandits engage in rape and plunder, committing all kinds of evil, which has made many people in Kanglan City scared. How could these guys appear here? Upon seeing this scene, Lin Che frowned slightly, and immediately, driven by curiosity, he concealed his figure and quietly followed. Chapter 6. Spiritual Warfare Techniques. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Spirit Level Warfare Techniques. Sandangja, you just said you saw a beautiful woman near this area, isn't it deceiving our village leader? As the crowd marched through the Black Dragon Village, a man with a scarred face looked at one of the people in the queue and asked. Upon hearing this, the person flattered and said, Master, what I said is absolutely true. I did see a woman near this canyon just now, and her appearance is unparalleled. Most importantly, she seems to be alone. Haha, good. If you're telling the truth, our village leader will definitely reward you greatly. Upon hearing the words, peerless beauty, the Black Dragon Village Lord's gaze flashed with a hint of greed, and then ordered everyone to speed up. Not long after that, the warriors of the Black Dragon Fortress arrived at the foot of a cliff. Village leader, look, that beautiful woman is right there. Everyone followed their gaze. Sure enough, at a steep cliff, a woman wearing a black long dress stood up against the abyss. Her green hair was like a waterfall, her clothes fluttered, and she had a calm and ethereal temperament, as if she were an exiled immortal who would fly away in the wind at any time. Beauty. It's so beautiful. At this moment, everyone in the Black Dragon Village was deeply moved and unable to move their gaze. The Black Dragon Stronghold leader's eyes lit up, and his eyeballs were almost wide open. He, Third Master, you really didn't deceive our Stronghold leader. I asked myself that I have played with many women, but I have never seen such a beautiful girl before. Brothers, surround me. With the order of the Black Dragon Village Master, numerous warriors riding wild beasts rushed up the mountain and directly surrounded the beautiful woman in black. Damn it, these bastards are trying to forcibly rob commoners' women. At the same time, Lin Che, who had followed all the way, saw this scene and immediately understood the purpose of these people. Lin Che grew up in Kanglan City from a young age and naturally knew that these fierce bandits did nothing wrong. If that woman in black fell into the hands of these people, her fate would definitely be extremely tragic. With this in mind, Lin Che did not intend to sit idly by. However, as soon as he took a step, the voice of the heavenly maiden suddenly came. What are you doing? Save people. She doesn't need you to save her. Why? Lin Che asked in confusion. This woman is very strong. Lin Che was taken aback and said, how strong is it? The heavenly maiden looked at him helplessly and said, with your current strength, they can even twist you to death with just one finger. Ah. Upon hearing these words, Lin Che finally understood why this woman dared to go deep into the Shinfeng mountain range where monsters were lurking alone. It turned out that she was an extraordinary powerhouse. However, despite this, after hesitating for a moment, Lin Che's figure continued to move forward. Didn't you understand what the Heavenly Maiden meant? With this woman's strength, you don't need to help her out. Seeing Lin Che's behavior, the Heavenly Maiden frowned slightly. Upon hearing this, Lin Che said, I know. Since she is so powerful, it's not too much for me to brush a wave of goodwill in front of the strong. Tian knew. At the same time, the warriors of the Black Dragon village have surrounded the beautiful woman in black. Little girl, she looks so beautiful. Let's go back to the village with the master and have some fun. The Black Dragon village leader looked up and down at the beautiful woman in black with her curvaceous figure, a lewd expression on his face. Luoro looked at this group of fierce and evil people, her eyebrows furrowed tightly, and her beautiful eyes showed a hint of disgust. It's really troublesome, no matter where it is, there are always some ignorant guys. With a slight shake of her head, she was ready to solve the problem of these idiots on the minds of the worms. However, before she could actually take action, a voice suddenly came. Stop it. As the voice fell, a young and upright figure, carrying a long sword on its shoulder, was walking step by step towards this place. Without a doubt, this person is exactly Lin Che. Lin Che walked up to the woman in black and stopped, then his gaze swept over the people of the Black Dragon stronghold. With a straight expression, he said, It's outrageous that you dare to bully a woman from a good family in broad daylight. As he finished speaking, he turned his head and gave a warm smile to the woman in black. He patted her chest and said, Miss, don't be afraid. With me around, they want to hurt you unless they step over my corpse. Black-clad woman. Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of me, even with the temperament of a woman in black, a strange look flashed in her eyes. At the same time, in the divine jade space, after seeing Lin Che's behavior, the Heavenly Maiden finally knew what he meant by saying to brush a wave of goodwill in front of the strong. Shameless. There are such shameless people in this world. The Heavenly Maiden couldn't help but secretly contemplate. This is too easy to install. You are Lin Che. At the same time, the leader of the Black Dragon village seemed to recognize the young man in front of him, and his expression changed. Lin Che. Upon hearing this name, many Black Dragon Fortress warriors unconsciously took a step back, seeming to have an instinctive reverence for it. The reason is very simple. In previous years, Black Dragon Village was located near Kanglan City and often competed for resources with the family forces inside the city. However, if they were to say that they least wanted to confront it, besides the largest family, the Murong clan, it was the Lin family. Although the Lin family's power in the past was not top-notch, with the presence of Lin Che, the young master, they were able to compete for resources without any obstacles. And judging from his past achievements, although Lin Che is a junior figure, he has always been decisive and ruthless in his actions, belonging to the kind of fighting that is not fatal. Hehe, I didn't expect you to know me. Since that's the case, who wants to die? Take a step forward. Lin Che said coldly. As these words fell, everyone in the Black Dragon village seemed to be truly intimidated and became hesitant one by one. At this moment, the Black Dragon stronghold leader was furious and said, What are you afraid of? This kid's dantian shattered a year ago, and he's no longer Lin Che from the past. He's just a useless person now. He still wants heroes to save the beauty. Give it all to me and kill the main leader of our stronghold. With a single command, the warriors of the Black Dragon Fortress are determined in their hearts and minds. Yeah. This kid was scrapped for some unknown reason a year ago, so what else is there to be afraid of? While thinking of this, the warriors of the Black Dragon Fortress suddenly rushed towards Lin Che like they had been beaten with chicken blood. It seems that everyone wants to be the first to kill this young man and show off well in front of the village leader. Unfortunately, they clearly underestimated Lin Che's current strength. Seeking death. Lin Che looked at the rushing battle, without a hint of panic on his expression. Instead, he rushed forward to meet those people. Shwa. After the sword was unsheathed and Lin Che's figure rushed into the crowd, he swung his sword and killed it. The momentum is like a rainbow. Although these Black Dragon Fortress warriors are numerous, most of their cultivation levels are around the 3rd or 4th level of Qi gathering. When encountering Lin Che, who is now at the 7th level of Qi gathering, it can be said that they have no resistance at all. This is simply a one-sided massacre. No. Not good. Where is this kid like a broken useless person in Dantian? We've been fooled, retreat. Seeing Lin Che so brave, the warriors of the Black Dragon Fortress finally reacted and their formation collapsed. At this moment, Lin Che clearly did not let go of their plans. His figure quickly walked through the crowd, with blood splattering every step he took. The long sword in his hand was also like a sickle transformed into a god of death, easily reaping life. Shushi after just a few breaths, he slaughtered all the more than 10 bandits in the Black Dragon Fortress alone, with corpses lying horizontally on the ground and injuries that were fatal from a single blow. No, impossible. The leader of Black Dragon Village was completely dumbfounded when he saw this scene. Qi gathering 7-fold. Aren't you useless? Why can you still unleash the power of Qi gathering 7-fold? Upon hearing the question from the Black Dragon Village leader, Lin Che sneered and said, "Go down and ask the King of Hell." His grandmother. The Black Dragon Stronghold leader didn't expect the other party to be so arrogant, and his expression suddenly became angry. Even if you recover to the 7th level of Qi gathering, what can you do? I am a strong person in the 8th level of Qi gathering. How dare I slaughter all of my subordinates? Lin Che, today our village leader will definitely crush your body. 10,000 sections. The Black Dragon Stronghold leader let out a loud roar and rushed towards Lin Che. Then, a space ring on his palm suddenly flashed with light. In his originally empty hand, a heavy wolf-toothed giant stick appeared out of thin air. Die for me. The leader of the Black Dragon Stronghold swung his wolf-toothed giant stick with all his might, smashing it down like a heavy hill, causing a muffled sob to come from the air. But just when the leader of the Black Dragon Stronghold thought that his powerful blow would inevitably make Lin Che retreat, Lin Che unexpectedly chose to wave his sword to face him. Dang! The iron sword and wolf-tooth stick collided fiercely in the air, causing sparks to splash everywhere, but the result was unexpected. Dang dang dang! I saw Lin Che's body standing still, but on the other hand, the sturdy body of the Black Dragon Stronghold leader unexpectedly took 6 or 7 steps back in this bombardment. What? What's going on? The leader of Black Dragon Village felt a tingling pain in his mouth, and his entire face became extremely ugly. The other party is 1 level away from him, pure power collision, and he is actually at a disadvantage. Only Lin Che knew that after his Dantian was replaced by the Sea of Qi, not only did his physical body become incredibly powerful, but also the quality of his true Qi far surpassed that of martial artists of the same rank. Even enough to support him in a more advanced battle. The leader of the Black Dragon Village noticed the strangeness of the young man in front of him and could not take it for granted, so he dared not underestimate him any further. At this moment, the Black Dragon Stronghold leader directly used a combat skill. War skills can greatly enhance the use of true Qi in a warrior's body, divided into human level, spiritual level, mystical level, earth level, and heavenly level. Each level is further divided into 3 levels: lower, middle, and upper. This spiritual level combat skill was obtained by the Black Dragon Stronghold leader in an ancient cave and has always been regarded as a treasure by him. He has been devoted to practicing it secretly. It was not until then that the leader of the Black Dragon village sensed a threat on Lin Che before using it. If I can use this combat skill, you little one will die in peace. With a loud shout, the leader of the Black Dragon village took 9 steps on the ground, each step adding to his imposing presence. Reverse the 9 chaotic trends. The 9th step was taken, and the momentum of the Black Dragon stronghold lord had already condensed to a peak, with the Wolf Fang giant stick falling down abruptly. Boom! Lin Che could feel that at this moment, the Wolf Fang giant stick waved by the Black Dragon stronghold leader was several times more powerful than before. Even though he is now physically strong, he dare not attempt to collide head-on again. Thinking of this, Lin Che's feet flashed sideways, and at a critical moment, he narrowly avoided the blow. Boom boom. The ground where he was originally located collapsed with soil and rocks, and was directly smashed into a gully with a diameter of several meters. Seeing this scene, Lin Che's gaze froze. The spirit-level combat skills are indeed powerful. It can be imagined that if he had just chosen to carry it hard, at least he would have ended up with broken bones and tendons. But after the initial surprise, a curve appeared on the corner of Lin Che's mouth, but unfortunately, it seems that you haven't fully grasped this spiritual-level combat skill yet. Upon hearing Lin Che's words, the Black Dragon village lord's face turned black. The other party's words are good, but due to talent limitations, the Black Dragon stronghold leader only comprehends about 50% of this battle skill after obtaining it. So what, I can still kill you today, said the Black Dragon stronghold leader with a fierce heart. After speaking, he once again gathered his momentum and prepared to gather his strength to strike. Is that right? However, at this moment, Lin Che sneered. Lin Che could see that the battle technique mastered by the Black Dragon stronghold master, although extremely powerful, required energy for every strike. If he truly comprehends this battle technique to a perfect state, he naturally does not have this problem, but it is because the Black Dragon stronghold leader lacks understanding of it. When he accumulates strength, it is his most fatal flaw. Shwa. The momentum of the Black Dragon stronghold leader had just gathered, but Lin Che's figure had already surged up, and the radiance of the Quanba's sword flickered with it. A sword, like wind, like electricity. It's almost reaching its limit. Pushi. The sword light fell, and the head of the Black Dragon stronghold lord flew high, with blood surging wildly. It wasn't until a moment later that his body fell heavily and made a dull sound. Chapter 7. Rapid Progress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Rapid Progress. The Black Dragon Fortress, which had been in trouble for many years in Kangwon City, was completely destroyed by Lin Che like this. After solving them, Lin Che immediately cleaned up the battlefield. After sweeping away all the belongings of the warriors in the Black Dragon stronghold, Lin Che walked up to the beautiful woman in black and said, "Miss, although I have helped you, it's just a small gesture. You don't need to thank me. No need to say thank you." Luo Ro didn't say a word and just looked at the young man in front of her. Lin Che felt a bit embarrassed, knowing in her heart that the other party was a terrifying powerhouse. Being constantly stared at by the other party made her feel a little uneasy. "How about I share some of the spoils with you?" "No need, you can keep it for yourself." This time, the woman in black finally spoke, her voice appearing a bit cold. "Since that's the case, then I'll leave. I'll see you later." After saying this, Lin Che didn't hesitate and turned around to leave. Previously, he knew that this woman was a strong person, but he still offered to help, not for any other reason, just to establish a good relationship. But he also knew in his heart that the other party's identity, with his current strength, could not have more intersection at the moment. It's enough to leave a trace of goodwill in the other person's heart. At this moment, looking at the young figure gradually moving away, Luo Ro, who had been expressionless before, quietly covered her eyes with a soft smile. "He's really a fun young man. Master, I think this kid is just overestimating himself." As soon as Luo Ro finished speaking, there was a wave in the void not far away. Then, a man in a silver robe appeared and said, with the power of the palace master, killing these people is just a matter of fingertips. Why bother with this kid? Upon hearing this, Luo Ro said, the key is that he doesn't know that I have the power to protect myself. Being willing to act with righteousness is enough to prove that this person has excellent character. Could it be that the temple master has a heart of cherishing talents? Upon hearing these words, Luo Ro shook her head and said, I have been indifferent to worldly affairs for many years and have no interest in cultivating junior figures. However, I don't like to owe him favors either. Follow him and find a chance to repay him a favor. Yes. Upon hearing this command, the man in the silver robe bowed and disappeared again. At this moment, Lin Che had already left the cliff. Strolling along a mountain path. The bandits of the Black Dragon village have been committing crimes near Kanglan City for many years. Today, I have eradicated this black and evil force. Senior Heavenly Maiden, do you think I will receive good retribution for this in the future? Perhaps. The mysterious woman's voice echoed in Lin Che's heart, with a slightly indifferent attitude. Ah, why do I feel like every time I talk to Senior Qiannu, you always have a cold attitude, like an iceberg? Although my parents may have some grudges against you, I am innocent, and you shouldn't vent all these grievances on me, right? The Heavenly Maiden chose to remain silent about this statement. Seeing this, Lin Che secretly made a helpless expression. But immediately, he said somewhat rashly, to be honest, that beautiful woman in black today is really beautiful. If it weren't for the super strong composure I have developed in my daily life, I might not have been able to resist harboring evil thoughts. This sentence finally aroused a hint of curiosity in the Heavenly Maiden's heart, and she said with confusion, did you develop the composure you usually exercise? Although the woman in black today has a stunning appearance, she is still inferior to Senior Heavenly Maiden in terms of her stunning appearance. I have naturally developed a strong sense of composure by practicing with you, Senior Heavenly Maiden, on a daily basis. By the way, I saved her today. Senior Heavenly Maiden, do you think she would be impressed by my heroic demeanor at that time and secretly promise my heart? I think you're a bit shameless. The mysterious woman's voice was somewhat contemptuous this time. Of course, for any woman, especially a beautiful woman, she will not mind others praising her appearance. Although Tiannu's tone was somewhat contemptuous, within the divine jade space that Lin Che couldn't see, a faint curve appeared on her snowy face. Smile, pour out the world. I don't know if you made her interested at the time, but I know that you caused some trouble for yourself. After a moment of pause, the Heavenly Maiden suddenly said. Lin Che was taken aback and said, what's the trouble? The Heavenly Maiden did not answer, but said, these days, you continue to search for heavenly materials and earth treasures, but you cannot use the Sea of Qi to devour them anymore. You can freely display your cultivation methods. Why? Lin Che's heart became even more puzzled. Because someone is following you, said the Heavenly Maiden casually. What? Lin Che was startled and became cautious. His spiritual consciousness quickly spread out, but after a moment, he did not detect any trace. His realm surpasses yours by too much, you can't sense it, but this person doesn't have any malice, so don't worry. Anyway, you just listen to me. Okay, Lin Che heard the Heavenly Maiden say, although he felt strange in his heart, he didn't ask any more questions. In the following days, Lin Che continued to search for various spiritual medicines in the Shenfeng Mountains, and of course, he couldn't help but engage in bloody battles with various ferocious beasts. It has to be said that for warriors, only in life and death battles can they progress rapidly. Although Lin Che still remains at the level of Qi Gathering 7, his combat instincts, skills, and experience are all advancing rapidly at a visible speed to the naked eye. Senior Heavenly Maiden, when on earth can I refine these precious medicines? Finally, after the 10th day, Lin Che couldn't help but ask. In fact, in these 10 days, he has searched for no less than 30 spiritual medicines. As long as he can refine them with the sea of Qi, his realm can once again soar. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. But during this period, the Heavenly Maiden never mentioned the matter of letting him practice, which made Lin Che feel like he was guarding a treasure mountain in the air but couldn't enter. Do you really want to break through? Yeah, there are less than 7 days left until the Sect selection battle in Kanglan City. Lin Che clenched his fists slightly. Lin Che drew a clear line with the Lin family this time, and with Lin Xianghai's cunning personality, upon learning that his cultivation had recovered, he would definitely not leave behind this hidden danger. Therefore, Lin Che speculates that there must be a killing move arranged by Lin Xianghai in the outside world now, waiting for his appearance. With Lin Che's current strength, wanting to compete against the entire Lin family is like hitting a stone with an egg. It may not even be possible to escape the range of Kanglan City. He can only know that there are tigers in the mountains and leans towards the Tiger Mountain journey. The selection battle of the Sect may be his only chance. As long as he can win the championship in the selection battle, he will have the opportunity to enter the Daotsang Academy. At that time, even if Lin Xianghai wanted to kill him again, he would not have any chance. Then you can enter that cave and start refining these spiritual medicines. After a moment of silence, the Heavenly Maiden spoke up. Lin Che looked around and indeed discovered a naturally formed cave on a nearby mountain wall. Upon hearing the words of the Heavenly Maiden, Lin Che was overjoyed and without hesitation, climbed up the stone wall and entered the cave. The light suddenly dimmed, and Lin Che sat cross-legged in a relatively dry area of the cave, taking out a ring. Space ring. This is exactly the loot that Lin Che gained after killing the Black Dragon village lord. Don't underestimate this ring, it is a luxury item that only the heads and elders of some big families in Kanglan City can possess. Lin Che was once the young head of the Lin family and did not have the qualification to master one. And these days, the usage of this space ring has already been mastered by Lin Che. With a thought, the 30 spiritual medicines harvested in the past few days appeared out of thin air. Immediately, Lin Che activated the Qi Sea and began to devour the spiritual energy in these elixirs. What Lin Che didn't know was that shortly after he entered the cave, a man in a silver robe appeared out of thin air, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. Strange, is there something blocking the mind and spirit on this kid? Why can't I sense his breath after he enters the cave? However, the previous orders from Lord Luo only allowed him to find an opportunity to repay his personal feelings, so although the man in the silver robe felt strange, he was not interested in exploring the truth. Finally, his figure flashed and disappeared again. One day later. Within the cave, Lin Che had already refined all 30 spiritual medicines in front of him. It has to be said that the cultivation method of Qi Hai is too domineering. At this moment, Lin Che can clearly feel that the rich spiritual energy contained in the spiritual medicine is surging in his body. Such violent energy, even a powerful person in the spiritual martial realm, will inevitably explode and die more than 10 times. But under the guidance of the Sea of Qi, this terrifying energy is constantly refining Lin Che's body, every inch of muscles, flesh, and meridians are being crazily refined. Bang! Finally, the martial arts barrier inside Lin Che's body was once again broken down, and his realm successfully broke through to the 8th level of Qi gathering. Gathering Qi 8-fold. A strong excitement appeared on Lin Che's face. A year ago, when my realm had not yet fallen, it was the 8 realms of gathering Qi. Now, I have rebuilt my foundation and returned to the peak once again. And it only took a short month to retrain from gathering Qi 1 level to gathering Qi 8 levels. Lin Che could clearly sense that after his Dantian was replaced by the Sea of Qi, although his realm was no different from a year ago, his true combat power was incomparable. Now with every move he made, a burst of energy emanated from his body. This powerful force was a height he had never reached before. Chapter 8. 5 Elders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 5 Elders Senior Heavenly Maiden, this cultivation speed is too incredible. There won't be any sequelae in the future, will there? Although Lin Che was excited about his progress, he became somewhat worried after calming down. Because the martial arts philosophy he has been practicing since childhood is that one should not be greedy for achievements and rashly advance in martial arts practice. It is necessary to solidify the foundation, otherwise there is a risk of going crazy in the future. Is this still called fast? The Heavenly Maiden shook her head slightly and said, "What do you know, the frog at the bottom of the well? You haven't seen a terrifying existence that devours a planet for cultivation outside the star realm. There really is no risk. These ruthless people in the star realm may have already destroyed their spirits 10,000 times." Of course, the Heavenly Maiden's self-talk was quite obscure and wouldn't even be heard by Lin Che. She explained, "You just need to practice. As for whether there are any flaws in this cultivation method, naturally the person who created it will consider it. This is not the level you should be exposed to." "Okay," Lin Che nodded. However, immediately after, Lin Che's mind became lively again. "Senior Heavenly Maiden, you have reached such a high level before. You must have cherished many powerful combat skills. Why don't you casually teach the younger generation how to cultivate 2 books?" In response, the Heavenly Maiden said, "Have you ever heard of children using a 10,000-pound hammer as a weapon? You are too weak now, and the combat skills I know are not suitable for you to learn. When you reach the realm of heavenly martial arts, perhaps I can teach you 1 or 2 combat skills, but don't rely on me for the current combat skills." Upon hearing this, a hint of disappointment flashed in Lin Che's eyes, but he also understood that what the Heavenly Maiden said was true. Although he didn't know the specific origin of the Heavenly Maiden yet, he understood that the origin of this mysterious woman must be quite complicated. The combat skills mastered by the opponent are definitely not the level they can currently reach. Of course, the reason why Lin Che craves combat skills is also because he has served as the young master of the Lin family for many years, but Lin Xianghai has never taught him a decent combat skill. What flows through me is not the legitimate lineage of the Lin family, which shows that Lin Xianghai has always had reservations about me from beginning to end. Fortunately, this year's decline in realm has also allowed me to fully see the face of the entire Lin family." Thinking of this, Lin Che took out the space ring again. With a flash of brilliance, a yellowed ancient book appeared in front of him. Reverse Chaos 9 Directions. This should be the lower-level combat technique used by the Black Dragon Stronghold leader before. The Murong family, the first family of Kanglan City, is nothing more precious than a scroll of lower-level spirit-level combat skills. It has to be said that the Black Dragon Stronghold leader's luck is really good. He had such a rare encounter and was able to obtain such a level of combat skills. No, it should be said that my luck is really good. Holding this ancient book, Lin Che thought with some pride, and a hint of relief flashed in his heart. At the very least, the level of this combat skill will never be inferior to the ancestral combat skills cherished by major families in Kanglan City. Subsequently, in the following days, Lin Che began to cultivate this combat skill. This battle technique is obscure and difficult, and the Black Dragon Stronghold leader only mastered about 50% of it at the time. But don't forget, Lin Che's talent was already much greater than that of the Black Dragon village leader, so just 3 days later, Lin Che had completely mastered it. 3 days later, Lin Che walked out of the cave. Accustomed to the dimness in the cave, the slightly piercing light caused Lin Che's eyes to squint slightly. Comfortably stretching lazily, Lin Che breathed in the fresh air outside the cave between his nostrils, feeling a sense of rebirth at this moment. A year ago, his realm fell, and the Lin family, which gave him a sense of belonging, completely overturned in his heart overnight, allowing him to experience the coolness of the world. Those who have not personally experienced this feeling will not understand. This also made Lin Che fully understand a truth. In the world of martial arts, strength is paramount. Only with strength can one have dignity. There are still 3 days left, and the Sect selection battle is about to begin. It's time to rush back to Kangwon City. Lin family, wait for me, I will give you a surprise. After making this decision, Lin Che began to return along the way to Kangwon City. 1 day later, his figure appeared on the outskirts of the Shinfeng Mountains. But just as he was about to leave this mountain range, an ominous premonition suddenly struck. Lin Che's face darkened and he decisively stopped walking. What kind of person? There's no need to hide your head or tail, come out now. I didn't expect you to discover me, but I was careless. Lin Che, it seems that your cultivation has indeed recovered. As the words fell, a figure emerged from the shadows in the darkness. This is a middle-aged man with a thin face, his eyes fixed on Lin Che with a hint of coldness. 5 elders. Seeing this middle-aged man, Lin Che's gaze froze. This person is the 5th elder of the Lin family. I can't believe that the Lin family would even let an elder take action to kill me. It seems that Lin Xionghai is really wary of this hidden danger. This is called prudence. Elder Wu sneered, for a family, being able to stand firm for 100 years is like a sailing ship. The person at the helm must be careful and avoid all kinds of storms in advance. Lin Che, with your talent, after the recovery of the Dantian, if you become enemies with our Lin family in the future, it will be a considerable trouble. So it's best to nip this trouble in the bud in advance. Lin Che sneered and shook his head, it's my first time seeing someone speak so grandly of heartlessness. Unfortunately, with you foolish helmsmen in the Lin family, sooner or later the ship will capsize. At this moment, Elder Wu squinted his eyes and said, Lin Che, even if your cultivation recovers to its peak state a year ago, you are not a match for Elder Ben. In fact, killing you does not require Elder Ben's personal action, but I still came. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Since that's the case, you should understand that resistance is meaningless, so you should just die obediently. The cold words of the 5 elders fell, and their figures also moved. Shua. His speed was like a ghost, quickly approaching Lin Che. Die for me. The 5 elders let out a loud shout, then clenched their palms and punched. The black light surged, and a powerful and heavy punch hit Lin Che's heart fiercely, gathering chi 9 times. From the explosive momentum around the 5 elders, it can be seen that he did not boast before. Even if Lin Che recovers to his level a year ago, there is still a significant gap in his level when facing the 5 elders who are at the peak of chi gathering. However, facing the imposing 5 elders, Lin Che's expression was incredibly calm. Shua. After the other party rushed to a certain distance, Lin Che's figure finally moved. Boom. As he took one step, a momentum no weaker than that of the 5 elders swept out from around Lin Che. Undoubtedly, Lin Che was able to unleash such a terrifying aura through the use of the spirit-level combat technique of Reverse Chaos 9 Forces. And unlike the previous Black Dragon village leader who took 9 full steps, Lin Che consolidated this aura and only took 1 step. 1-step coagulation. What is a genius? Regardless of any combat techniques, they can be fully utilized in their hands, and Lin Che at this moment undoubtedly confirms this. In the next moment, Lin Che drew his sword out of its sheath and slashed it forward. Bang! The violent sword power collided fiercely with the fist marks of the 5 elders, causing a strong spiritual energy wave in the air to scatter wildly in all directions. After one strike, the body of the 5 elders was shaken back by a tremendous force for more than 10 steps. You. The 5th elder's face was full of shock, but before he could speak his second word, a long sword had already pressed against his throat. Lin Che stood tall, and at this moment, a buzzing sound could be heard from the long sword in his hand. But his eyes were filled with a cold expression as he looked at the 5th elder and said, "The resources I have fought for the Lin family for many years, and the vast majority of them have flowed into the Elder's Pavilion. As a prominent elder of the Lin family, have you grown to this extent? You can't even catch a single sword. It's useless. Shame. This is simply a blatant insult. The 5 elders stiffened and were about to speak. However, before he could utter a word, Lin Che's long sword suddenly swung forward. Shoo! The throat of the 5 elders was instantly pierced, blood splattered everywhere. The 5 elders opened their eyes wide and made a lotus sound in their mouths. In the end, they could only slowly collapse in fear on their faces. Perhaps he couldn't even understand to his death how Lin Che, who was shattered in Dantian a month ago, could have grown to such a terrifying extent within a month after killing this 5 elders. Lin Che naturally did not let go of the resources on his body. Fortunately, these 5 elders also have a space ring. After being investigated by Lin Che, he discovered that there were actually 70 spiritual herbs inside the ring. 70 spiritual herbs should be enough to support me to break through the next realm, right? A hint of excitement flashed in Lin Che's heart. However, he did not immediately refine these spiritual medicines. After putting them all away, he glanced at the corpse in the pool of blood and walked away without hesitation. Not long after Lin Che left, the figure of the man in the silver robe reappeared in the darkness. When did this kid break through to the 8th level of Qi gathering under my nose? The man in the silver robe remembers clearly that when Lin Che fought against the Black Dragon stronghold leader, he was only in the 7 levels of gathering Qi realm. However, in just a few days, the realm has reached the 8 levels of gathering Qi. And when he broke through, he had no idea. Perhaps this son is a practitioner of the heavenly way. It is rumored that there were unparalleled demons in ancient times who could fight one realm at a time. As long as they fought continuously, they could break through the realm with their rebellious insights, and were known as practitioners of the heavenly way. At this moment, Lin Che's performance made the silver robe powerhouse have this absurd idea. Of course, these thoughts only flashed through the silver-robed man's mind. Looking at the corpses on the ground, the man in a silver robe shook his head somewhat helplessly and said, "The Lord of the Palace has ordered me to help you solve a problem." Originally, this was an opportunity. But now it seems that this task still needs to be continued. It's really a headache. Chapter 9. Sect Selection Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Sect Selection Battle. After leaving the Shenfeng Mountains, Lin Che rushed to a nearby small town as soon as possible. Before his training, he was afraid that the mountains would be too dangerous, so he let Xiaoyao temporarily reside here. After encountering the ambush of the 5 elders, Lin Che became extremely worried about the safety of this little girl in his heart. Fortunately, when he found Xiaoyao, the little girl was still lively and not in any danger. "Young master, you have finally come back." After seeing Lin Che, Xiaoyao wept with joy. After all, in the girl's heart, Lin Che now is all she has to rely on. Lin Che comforted her by touching her head and said, "You've been worried lately." Then he asked again, "Has anyone from the Lin family been here recently in the small town?" "Yes." Xiaoyao nodded solemnly, "Young master, I've seen some martial artists from the Shaolin family around these days, and they seem to be looking for you. But every time I hide, I haven't been noticed by them." Upon hearing this, Lin Che frowned. So it seems that he really underestimated the determination of the Lin family to kill him. With this in mind, Lin Che looked at Xiaoyao and said, "It's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Let's go." "Young master, where are we going?" "Return to Kanglin City," Lin Che said directly. "Ah. Back to Kanglin City. But..." Xiaoyao had a surprised expression on her face. At this moment, Lin Che said, "I want to go back and take back everything I once lost." Kanglin City. On this day, the city was crowded with people, and almost all streets were crowded with people. It can be said that in the past decade, Kanglin City has never seen such a lively scene as it is today. The reason for this is very simple. It is rumored that a mentor will come to the Daotsang Academy today to select disciples in Kanglan City. Daekanjuan is the largest force within the territory of Yangzhou. It is rumored that every year, the Daotsang Academy selects talented young warriors from various cities in Yangzhou and recruits them to practice within the academy. The territory of Yangzhou is extremely vast, with over 1,000 cities of all sizes, but the annual enrollment quota of Daekanjuan is only 100. This also means that only large cities with comprehensive strength ranking in the top 100 are eligible to enter the vision of Daekanjuan. And Kanglan City, for the first time in nearly a decade, has entered the top 100 cities. For this grand event, both major families and the people in the city can be said to have been looking forward to it for a long time. Rumor has it that the Daotsang Academy recruits disciples in major cities with only one quota, which means that only the most talented young generation in Kanglan City has the possibility of becoming a disciple of the Daotsang Academy. Guess which family's genius will become this lucky one? For this sect selection battle, all major families in the city attach great importance. Once the younger generation of the clan becomes disciples of the Daotsang Academy, their future prospects will be limitless, and their family will also soar to the sky. On the major streets of Kanglan City, there is a surge of people and a constant clamor. And without a doubt, the focus of everyone's discussion is also on this matter. Is there any suspense here? The Murong family has always been the largest family in Kanglan City. The daughter of the head of the family, Miss Murong Yen, is also recognized as the first genius in the city today. I think Murong Yen is the first in this selection competition. That's not necessarily true. In order to compete in this year's selection competition, all major families have fully opened their resources to the younger generation. Moreover, in order to preserve their strength, there has been no record of competition among the younger generations of each tribe over the past year, and no one can guess where they have each grown. Murong Yen is indeed very strong, but in my opinion, Shen Tuyuan, the genius of the Shen Tu family, is also not weak. He may not lose this year. Murong Yen, Shen Tuyuan. These two people are the two hottest geniuses in Kanglan City today. Therefore, the focus of everyone's discussion naturally revolves around these two individuals. However, at this moment, someone sighed and said, these two people are indeed the biggest favorites to win the championship, but if one of them is the first genius of Kanglan City, it is a bit exaggerated. After all, in previous years, these two great geniuses have been steadily suppressed by one person. This year, they have gained this popularity because that person is unable to participate in this sect selection battle. As soon as these words were spoken, the figure of a young man unconsciously appeared in everyone's hearts. Lin Che. If we say that this son has been recognized as the first genius in Kanglan City over the years. When his talent did not disappear, no young generation in the city could compare to him. Lin Che was indeed stunning back then, but since a year ago, he has been suffering from a strange illness, with his dantian shattered and falling from the clouds into the abyss. If not, the Lin family would have received unprecedented honors with this son, and this time the most devastating loss is probably the Lin family. I heard that Lin Che has been unilaterally broken up by Miss Murong Yen of the Murong family, and not long ago, he was deposed as the young master by the Lin family and expelled from the family, becoming the laughing stock of the entire Kanglan City. Now, I'm afraid he doesn't know where to beg, there's nothing to discuss. Someone said disdainfully. When it comes to Lin Che, some people feel regretful for him, while others lament and gloat. But no matter what emotions are, they just flash through people's hearts. For the martial arts world, people tend to only remember the strong. No matter how many honors it has in the past, once it falls from the altar, it will gradually be forgotten by the world. The most bustling central street in Kanglan City. Surrounding a huge battle platform, major family forces in Kanglan City have taken their seats. Lin Xionghai, the head of the Lin family, looked towards Lin Yu in the direction where they were located. How have you been lately? Upon hearing this inquiry, Lin Yu respectfully said, "Master Uncle, rest assured that since the family resources were fully open to my nephew, 3 days ago, my nephew was fortunate enough to have lived up to his fate and had already entered the realm of gathering qi in the 8th level. Gathering qi 8-fold. Looking at Lin Yu's proud expression, Lin Xianghai not only did not feel relaxed, but his face became even more solemn. Gathering qi in 8 levels is just a level that Lin Che had already reached a year ago. By comparison, there is indeed a huge gap in Lin Yu's talent compared to the person who betrayed his family. This makes Lin Xianghai feel extremely regretful. If it weren't for the accident a year ago, perhaps the Lin family really had a chance to climb the back mountain of Daekanjuan. However, everything we say now is of no use, and the Lin family can only rely on Lin Yu for their last hope. Even though this Lin Yu doesn't really appeal to Lin Xianghai in his heart. As for Lin Che, with the help of the 5 elders, he must have died in some wilderness, right? These thoughts flashed through Lin Xianghai's heart, and his face remained unchanged from beginning to end. He patted Lin Yu's shoulder and said, You don't need any burden, try your best. Even if my nephew sacrifices his life, he will definitely bring glory to the Lin family. For over a decade, being overwhelmed by the halo of Lin Che, Lin Yu couldn't lift his head. At this moment, feeling the importance of Lin Xianghai, Lin Yu was flattered and said, The Lord is here. Roaming and rumbling, just as the crowd was discussing, the central street suddenly heard a heavy sound of horse hooves. A group of armored soldiers rushed towards the giant circular platform, surrounded by a middle-aged man with a jade-faced face. Seeing this force, people from all major families in Kanglan City stood up to show respect. This is the influence of the Lord's mansion, and the middle-aged man in the middle is the Lord of Kanglan City, Xiaofeng. Although there are numerous families in Kanglan City, even the first family dare not directly challenge the Lord's mansion. This is not only because the Lord's mansion has strong military power, but more importantly, it is the official family behind this force. After Xiaofeng climbed onto the circular platform, he waved his hand and said, Please, Master Ji, come on stage. Immediately, a luxurious soft sedan appeared in everyone's sight. The sedan curtain was lifted, and an elderly man with a red face walked out of it. This person is the mentor of Daekanjuan, Ji Zong. Seeing this old man who was capable of determining the fate of the major families in Kanglan City, all the people along the way showed flattering looks. However, in the face of these gazes, the old man walked up the high platform with a dignified expression and a stern expression. Master Ji, representing Dao Cangyuan, is visiting Kanglan City for the first time. If there is any mishandling in the hospitality, please forgive me, said Lord Xiao with a smile. He, Lord Xiao, you're welcome. I'm handling affairs for the Daotsang Academy, and I just hope everything goes smoothly this time. I heard that Master Ji's stay in the city is limited. Since that's the case, it's not too late. Let's start now, said Lord Xiao on the side. Okay. As the words fell, Ji Zong went straight to the center of the circular platform and Hongxing said, My name is Ji Zong. I served as the mentor of the Daotsang Academy and was also the person responsible for the assessment of Kanglan City this time. I believe you all understand the purpose of my visit this time, so there's no need for me to elaborate too much. Since that's the case, I will clarify the rules for this assessment. All young people under the age of 20 are eligible to participate in this assessment, which is divided into 2 rounds. The first round is the preliminary examination, and as for the method of passing the preliminary examination. At this point, Emperor Jizong suddenly waved his sleeve and robe. Wow! 3 wooden figures appeared on the battlefield. Jizong said slowly, All those who pass the assessment will pass the first round of assessment if they can stand firm under the attack of these 3 wooden figures after climbing onto the battlefield and burning a stick of incense. Those who can stand firm for a single stick of incense on the battlefield will pass the first round of assessment. Simple. The old man in the robe spoke simply, but at this moment, everyone, upon seeing the three wooden figures holding wooden knives, without exception, showed a solemn expression. Because they clearly sensed that at the moment these three wooden figures appeared, the space trembled faintly, and a strong sense of oppression struck. This proves that the three wooden figures possess extremely strong combat power. The scene fell silent for a moment. Finally, I don't know how long it took for someone to step onto the battlefield first. This is the eldest son of the Song family, Song Lei. Many people recognize the young man who was the first to walk towards the battlefield. Song Lei, with the 6 levels of gathering qi, may not be considered a top genius in Kanglan City, but his strength also belongs to the upper middle class. In addition, the courage to be the first to play was commendable, which caused a burst of cheers in the crowd. No one dares to be the first to go up. I'm sorry, I'll give this opportunity to show my face to young master. Song Lei stepped onto the battlefield step by step, his face calm and composed, thinking to himself, how difficult could the first round of assessment be? Just as he stepped up the last step, a cold breath suddenly enveloped him. One of the wooden figures on the battlefield has moved. Wow! The wooden knife in the hand of the wooden man swung like a gust of wind, carrying an incredibly fierce momentum and sweeping towards Song Lei. Bang! At the next moment, Song Lei's body flew out directly from the battlefield. Chapter 10. Strong Passing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Strong Passing. Pang. Song Lei's disheveled figure fell heavily into the dust, and in an instant, the entire central square became silent. Gathering qi in 6 levels, defeat with 1 move. If before, everyone had not had a clear understanding of the strength of these 3 wooden figures, now everyone can't help but take a cold breath. This is too scary, isn't it? How many people can pass the first round of assessment if we keep going like this? In Kanglan City, many young people who were originally full of ambition even developed a sense of retreat. Master Ji, is this too strict? On the observation deck, Lord Shao asked in a low voice. This is only the first round of assessment, and if the elimination rate in the initial round is so astonishing, it may sound a bit unpleasant for Kanglan City to hear about it. In this city, Daekanjuan only takes 1 person, and all the remaining ones are eliminated. Is it difficult or not? Is there any difference? Ji Zong asked with a smile. Of course. If no one in the entire Kanglan City can pass the first round of assessment, then I will have to return empty-handed. Upon hearing this, Xiao Feng fell silent. He understood that what Ji Zong said was a fact. This is Daekanjuan, the hegemon of Yangzhou. Being able to enter it can be considered a lifelong honor for any young talent in Yangzhou. On the contrary, to become one of them, one must rely on one's own strength. However, compared to the bustling crowd before, the younger generation in Kanglan City now appears somewhat melancholic and gloomy. Song Lei's strength belongs to the upper middle class in Kanglan City. With his elimination, many people who thought they were not as good as Song Lei also secretly gave up. As for the people who are brave enough to come on stage next, there is no doubt that they are the outstanding figures of the younger generation, the top talents in Kanglan City. However, even so far no one has been able to pass the assessment. Can't my genius in Kanglan City even pass the threshold for the first attempt? Isn't this too shocking? Who can correct the name of Kanglan City for me and win the upper hand? As time passed, the crowd became increasingly silent. At this moment, the appearance of a figure reignited the low mood of the crowd and made them rise again. This is a woman. She has picturesque features, a graceful figure, and a calm expression that exudes a hint of pride. That kind of confidence that comes out from the bones makes people understand at a glance what it means to have a strong head and a leading position among people. Murong Yen. A dazzling presence in Kanglan City, not only with outstanding appearance and extraordinary strength, but also in the Murong family, which is the first family in Kanglan City. It can be said that this woman is naturally the focus of people's eyes. If it weren't for the past years, being constantly suppressed by a person's aura would be perfect and flawless. However, even so, after the fall of that person, it was only natural for Murong Yen to become widely recognized as the first pride of most people in Kanglan City. Ha ha ha. Miss Murong has finally taken action. Yeah, the first genius of Kanglan City. If she can't pass, I'm afraid our Kanglan City will be completely destroyed. Amidst the implicit anticipation of the crowd, Murong Yan's beautiful figure stood on the battlefield. Shwa shwa shwa. In an instant, the three wooden figures moved together. From the previous records, the coordination of these three wooden figures, whether in attack or defense, can be called seamless. The attack of the three wooden figures is extremely fierce, and every time they make a move, their angles are extremely sharp, almost completely blocking the challenger's position. But unlike the embarrassment of those people before, Murong Yan's performance from beginning to end can be described as effortless. I saw her figure, every time she could dodge ahead of the stormy attack. Between the fluttering clothes and clothes, the graceful figure seems to have a special magic that can easily attract people's hearts and minds. Until a stick of incense time has passed. On the battlefield, the three wooden figures stopped attacking, and only then did the crowd notice that Murong Yen had a green hair and no sense of disorder. Is this over? Until Murong Yen walked lightly off the battlefield, on the long silent central square, everyone finally came to their senses and burst into thunderous applause. Be the first to anticipate the enemy. Although Murong Yen did not take any action from beginning to end, how confident his body and vision were to achieve this step. Finally, someone passed. Seeing this scene, Xiao Feng on the observation deck secretly clenched his fists. If the entire army of Kanglan City is truly destroyed, then this city lord probably wouldn't have the face to sit here. Not to mention anything else, the assessment of Daekanjuan next year will definitely abandon Kanglan City, which is afraid to become a laughing stock in the entire Yangzhou. After Murong Yen, the assessment continued, but few people actually appeared. But next, it gave Xiao Feng a surprise. As the assessment was nearing its end, surprisingly, two more people passed. The first one is undoubtedly Shen Tuyuan, who has the power to compete with Murong Yen. The second one is the newly appointed young master of the Lin family, Lin Yu. Unexpectedly, Lin Yu also passed the assessment. It seems that the Lin family has not declined since Lin Che was deposed. Seeing Lin Yu become the third person to pass the Wooden Man trial, a burst of discussion erupted in the crowd. Although Lin Yu did not pass easily compared to Murong Yen and Shen Tuyuan, facing the almost complete defeat of the younger generation in Kanglan City, this is already surprising enough. After passing the Wooden Man trial, Lin Yu looked up and walked back to the location of the Lin family, feeling the gaze he had received along the way, feeling extremely proud in his heart. For many years, at this moment, he seemed to have finally freed himself from the shadow of Lin Che. Let people know that the Lin family not only has Lin Che, but also Lin Yu. Okay, it's truly my son. Elder Lin patted his thigh heavily, looking extremely excited. As for the head of the family, Lin Xionghai nodded slightly and was able to pass the first round. It seems that the family resources open to Lin Yu during this period are not in vain. There is still a glimmer of hope for the Lin family in this trial competition. On the observation deck, Ji Zong shook his head secretly. So far, there are only 3 people. Kanglan City is entering the 100 city list for the first time, and this year is also the first time it has entered the vision of Daekanjuan. However, in terms of the elimination rate in the first round, this foundation is still too thin. I thought there would be some surprises on this trip, but now it seems a bit disappointing. Fortunately, the girl named Murong Yen had a stunning talent, which was enough to comfort her on this trip. At this moment, Ji Zong was ready to stand up and announce the results of the first round. However, at this moment, a burst of noise suddenly came. Look, there's actually someone else taking the assessment. With this shout, everyone's eyes gathered again. On the long stone steps, a young figure was seen ascending the high platform step by step. This person carries a long sword, wears a bamboo hat on his head, and is dressed in a black robe hunting in the wind. His footsteps give a sense of calm and strength. But now everyone's hearts are not calm. Who is this person? Besides those 3 people in Kanglan City, is there anyone else who is confident enough to pass the assessment? Countless people are puzzled. At the same time, the outstanding figure had already stepped onto the last layer of stone steps and stood on the battlefield. In an instant, a wooden puppet shot directly at him, chopping up and down with a wooden knife in his hand. The sharp edge of the sword suddenly appeared, and its momentum was like a rainbow. The attack is indeed fierce. Feeling this knife, under the bamboo hat, Lin Che's gaze twitched slightly. In the next moment, Lin Che drew his sword out of its sheath and met it with a sword. Dang! The wooden knife in the hand of the wooden puppet was blocked by this sword grid, making a piercing whistling sound. Not only that, the body of the wooden puppet was unexpectedly shaken back by life. At this moment, Lin Che's second sword had arrived. This sword was silent, without any sound of breaking the wind, as if it had already merged into the wind. The sword light flashed, leaving a sword mark on the wooden puppet. Upon seeing this scene, on the observation deck, Xiao Feng's body suddenly leapt and stood up from his seat. What a fast sword! What a tricky angle! Xiao Feng's gaze fluctuated violently, as he noticed that the marks left by the sword were located in the eyes of the wooden puppet. It can be said that if this wooden puppet is a flesh and blood body, it has already lost its combat power. This is like facing 3 strong enemies, one face to face can solve one of them, such a sharp method, how can it not be shocking? Xiao Feng naturally wouldn't have thought that Lin Che, under the guidance of a mysterious woman in the ancient Jade Space and in the Shenfeng Mountains, was practicing a fatal blow to fight against monsters. Solve your opponent in the simplest way possible. Of course, the wooden puppet is not a flesh and blood body and will not end with the sword of Lin Che. And in this place, there are very few who can see the clues like Xiao Feng. Therefore, the battle is still ongoing. Whoosh whoosh. 3 wooden figures struck simultaneously, cleverly coordinated to the extreme, and the entire battle platform seemed to be shrouded in terrifying swords. But Lin Che not only did not choose to avoid his sharpness, but also kicked his feet and his body, like an arrow, rushed towards the 3 wooden figures. Dodge. Lin Che didn't want to dodge, his method was to attack each other and defeat the hard with strength. Dang 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 dang, the long sword in Lin Che's hand kept colliding with the wooden knife, creating layers of ripples. This guy is really fierce. Under the battlefield, the onlookers saw the swords and knives on the stage, their eyes wide open. Although this scene is extremely impactful, it also looks incredibly thrilling. It can be said that once the challenger's true energy dries up or shows a slight flaw, the outcome will inevitably be tragic. However, just as everyone was curious about how long this mysterious swordsman could hold on, all 3 wooden figures stopped moving in an instant. Time for a stick of incense, it's time. Past the level. Seeing Lin Che pass the assessment with such a strong posture, the onlookers under the battlefield suddenly erupted into a violent commotion. Even some people unconsciously take a breath. Although this person may not seem as relaxed and comfortable as Murong Yen, it must be admitted that this way of fighting is indeed very exciting, causing the emotions of the surrounding audience to fluctuate dramatically. At the same time, countless people are even more curious about who this young figure standing on the battlefield is. When was such a young and powerful person born in Kanglan City?